in terrorism one would do, which is to kill the very people he wanted to have associate with him.
Well, let me stop you, Doc, because let me stop you.
Alex, listen to me. The analog to this is not McVeigh. It is not Al-Qaeda. You have to go back to 1922 and 1923. He's literally following the steps of the very people he's accusing, and that is Hitler. Hitler in 1922-23, when he was arrested to make sure that he was not executed. He did not want to be executed.
The beer hall putsch.
Listen, and then what he did later on in the 1930s, he took all of the people around him who were Aryans and homosexuals and executed 300 of them in order to make a political deal. This man has studied terrorism, has understood the integration of the icons of terrorism, the icons of Christianity, some of which are wrong. He understood Marxism. He understood exactly what multiculturalism. He understood that France refused to have multiculturalism, and he used as a target audience the problem of multiculturalism, but he didn't go out and kill any Muslims or multicultural elements. He killed his own people to explain that he is able to take down any political system. Then he very calmly sat down, explained his motivations so there would be no confusion as to the fact that he was nuts. I wrote about this 20 years ago in a novel saying that the banality of evil, it's not anything that's egregious. It is the banality of evil, is the ability to affect this type of terror so that you can terrorize a system or country and eventually a world. Now, what makes him very lethal is that he will polarize and have around him all the white discontent men and women who are now looking to the right, in Europe in particular, and in Norway in particular. Now, what makes it very unusual is you have to understand what Norway is. Nobody's talked about Norway. I've worked in Norway. I know Norway. Norway is a country that had a history of collaborating with the Nazis, with Quisling. Remember the term Quisling, Alex?
Yes.
You have to explain to your audience. He was the prime minister and foreign minister of Norway during World War II and affiliated himself with the Nazis. So within Norway, you had a system where you had an understrain of the notion of being a monolithic Aryan people who affiliated with the Nazis. Now, in all due respect to the Norwegians, they also, in the fjords where I was, they fought the Nazis subsequently and held down 400,000 troops. So what I'm saying to you is this is not only an individual, this is a cultural confluence of Norwegian national character, where it's only 4.5 million, of the historical elements that they had in Norway, not in Christianity. Norway is not a great Christian country. It's a Lutheran country which is subjugated to the state. So his pronouncements of Christianity is really the deification of Catholicism, which is in France, totally different. His understanding of Christianity is mistaken, because the Knights of Templar did not come from any Aryan country. They came from the areas that I grew up in France, in the south of France, in Toulouse, and they were basically wayward individuals who had no work and were then empowered by the Pope to go forth into Jerusalem and eventually became exceedingly corrupt. Now, having said that, my point is, this is a perfect execution of a terrorist act without destroying a building. I mean, he created a destruction of building, but he created terror throughout the system in order to mobilize a political party. Now, can the CFR and other governments have the repression subsequent to that? Yeah, but did they intend to do that? No, and I'll tell you why. No system, including our own system, is that smart or that clever or capable. The stand down and the false flag that occurred in 9/11 was done in the Bush Jr. administration with neocons and ones who understood in a backward, almost a reverse way. They were so clear and so awkward in their stand and false flag that it was easy for me and others who knew the intelligence community to say this was false flag.
All right.
This is not a predictable element.
All right, we've got a break. We're going to come right back. I've got my points to make. and then your phone calls are coming up with Dr. Steve Pieczenik. I just see the pre-scripting.
OpticsPlanet.com is where discerning gun owners and outdoorsmen go to gear up. Optics Planet has the best selection of rifle scopes, red dots, night vision, holsters, bags, and tactical gear on the planet, with always low prices, free shipping on most orders, and expert customer service. Go to OpticsPlanet.com/GCN to get a free gift with purchase. That's OpticsPlanet.com/GCN, or call 800-332-OPTICS, 800-332-6784.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
Question: can functional magnetic resonance imaging be used to read our minds? Author Jose Collazo answers yes in his 2 new books, America's New Slavery. For more than 13 years, author Jose Collazo has been trying to prove that the U.S. government has the capacity to read a person's thoughts with a revolutionary technology known as fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, and there is proof that it exists. America's New Slavery explores this technology and its many possible applications in national security. Who has access to it? How is it being used? Does America's salvation rest in this technology? These and many other questions are answered in America's New Slavery, the new books by Jose Collazo, available on BN.com, Amazon.com, and Borders.com. America's New Slavery. All Americans should be concerned.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at GoBerkey.com. That's GoBerkey.com today.
The largest part of gaining radiant health is detoxification. You can drink ionized water, cleanse your intestines, eat a perfect diet, and even take lots of quality supplements and in many instances only make minimal progress. What is the key to detoxifying your body of mercury, heavy metals, chemicals, and drugs? It is glutathione. Glutathione is the master antioxidant used to detoxify your entire body. It stops free radicals, keeps cells young, and reduces inflammation. One World Whey protein powder may be able to raise your glutathione production by 64% or more. One World Whey is more effective than any other whey protein powder on the market because it is unheated and from grass-fed cows. All other, quote, cold-processed whey protein powders have been heated and damaged by 15% or more. One World Whey comes in 3 delicious flavors. Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworld.com.
Well, Dr. Steve Pieczenik is an expert in terrorism, on terrorism. That's why he's the advisor to some of the most best-selling authors out there like Tom Clancy and co-author of many of those books and major films. But I look at this, and I see the neocons saying we want to invoke a class of civilizations between Christendom and the Muslims. And so the way this is launched, undoubtedly, they're going to be real copycats that take up this entire military manual on how to do it, who to attack, what their views are, that it's meant to generate, kind of like Carter setting up al-Qaeda in '79. Sure, the command systems run by the West, but it's an idea that then gets picked up and actually organically carried out. So that's how you have staged al-Qaeda, synthetic al-Qaeda versus real al-Qaeda. And so I see this launching the clash of civilizations, but then the governments that have been hyping that this is coming, they can then come in and say, now we've got to take everybody's rights. No one can be trusted because, see, the right-wingers that don't like the banker bailouts, that don't like open borders, who don't like cultural Marxism, they're bad guys. I mean, I see this really helping the corrupt ruling establishment. Dr. Pieczenik, I'm not saying I disagree with you, and I do see the point that stage terror always hits a target that hurts civilians. It's never really striking the ruling class. I mean, real terrorists would go after David Rockefeller. They'd go after Lord Rothschild. They'd go after the Queen of England. They would go after, real people at their houses. I mean, it's easy to kill people. Why do they usually hit some public place? Well, that's to scare the public because the state or elements of it are attacking the people. They want you to run into their arms, so they attack you. I mean, I get what you're saying, and that's why this whole case has given me a headache. But we also have his Facebook being altered from this Knights Templar.
Literally, Alex, there are times when we don't agree, but we do agree. Let's just, I want to do a little footnote. In June, you and I talked about the British collusion with the media and the press and the king. And I told you they were corrupt. The intelligence community was corrupt. The press was corrupt. 6 weeks later, the whole Murdoch issue comes out, and you and I were right. All right? And the BBC, who were sitting there, you forgot to mention that. So we were right.
No, but you said all their major media is government intelligence.
And the police department was involved. Scotland Yard was involved. So you and I are correct. We're often very aligned in what we say. And there are really collusions and there are corruptions. This is not the same case, my friend. And the reason I argue that is this man did target the prime individual he wanted, and that was the prime minister, but more sinisterly, and this is where you have to understand, and I'll go into the neocon. There's no neocon who's smart enough, calculating enough. Most of them are chicken hawks. They're cowards, whether Wolfowitz, Richard Pearl, Hadley, all of them were just sycophants and panderers. This is not a sycophant here. You're talking about a man who deifies being alone and the ability to be alone. And let me go into that. So you have to understand a little bit about Norway, and I want your listeners to understand.
Yeah, the power of one.
Wait a minute. Norway is a monolithic country. It's 4.5 million people. They have no debt, unlike the United States. They have a cash flow that's constant because of the North Sea oils. They have constant oil. They are a socialist country for the most part. They have a king and queen that's very little. But they have a history of the individual being a very strong person. Now, I don't want to get too cultural on you, but many people in the audience have to understand this. Norwegian are great people. They produced a man by the name of Henrik Ibsen, a famous playwright, who we still do the Doll's House, but more importantly, he wrote The Master Builder, which is exactly what this individual is saying when he quotes Jonathan Milton, and he says, the individual is more powerful than the society. This man is saying, in effect, with no neocon, no government, no other institution has been able to argue or suppress that the individual is without need, and the individual of belief can create more disaster than the individual who has some interest. This was also written by Ibsen. They then had another famous writer by the name of Knut Hamsun, who won a Nobel Prize in literature, who reaffirmed again the Norwegian cultural element that talks about the misery of the state and the society and the importance of the individual. So you have to, Alex, with all due respect, you are your scholar in your own way, to understand what makes Norway different from the United States and the neocons here. And the neocons aren't relevant. We're not have a society here where suddenly the FBI is going to suppress you or any. No, listen to me. I know where our capabilities are. We don't have a military that will come down and take us away. We don't have a system that's able or willing or capable to take us all away.
That's why it's all a big psyop. We've got to go to break.
Listen, if you've seen nothing in Hollywood, i.e. Washington, D.C., you've seen the follies and incompetence of a dysfunctional government, both on the right and the extreme right, with your Ron Pauls and all the other guys who talk about social conservative.
We're on the march, The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
A very wealthy U.S. citizen is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually